Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar with Crown Partners. Let's go ahead and get started. I'm Kristen Hammerstadt with ExactTarget, and I'm actually going to go over just a few housekeeping items before we get started. Per usual with the webinar, if you have any questions during the session, please go ahead and chat them through that question panel that you'll see on the panel screen. And we will be addressing all questions at the end of the session. During that time and through the entire session, your phones will be muted. So the question panel is where you're going to want to send all of your questions, and we will hopefully be able to get most or all of them addressed at the end of the session. I think that's it. I'm going to go ahead and kick it over to Sean.
Thanks, Kristen. So just thank you guys all for joining us today. Just kind of quick introductions to kind of lead things off. So my name is Sean Smith, and I'm the Client Account Lead for Crown Partners that works with ALSAC St Jude. Erica Klinger is my client, so she is the Director at ALSAC of Interactive Strategy and Promotion. And my colleague Jennifer Seaman is the Account Manager here at Crown Partners. We work hand in hand on this account, and you'll hear from her a little bit later. But we will be the three kind of talking and kind of leading you through this presentation today. So to start off just quickly, for those of you who are not familiar with Crown Partners, who are we? We are a full-service e-business consulting firm, and we offer a unique suite of marketing technologies that help our clients reach a new level in digital communication. So kind of built into our DNA as well is speed. So we are very good at coming in, assessing problems, bringing a suite of different marketing technologies to bear to quickly get things turned around for our clients. And in this case, it is ExactTarget Enterprise 2.0 system that was brought in to help ALSAC with their email marketing program. We've got 12 years of experience doing this, and primarily our services live within digital messaging, e-commerce, analytics, digital marketing, content management, and mobile. So one mission St Jude, ALSAC, so just a little bit to introduce our clients here. So St Jude Children's Research Hospital is the only pediatric cancer research center where families do not pay for any treatment above and beyond what is covered by insurance. So when they come here, they are well taken care of. And for anyone who has been on location here, you can see just in the hallways, the families, the look on the face is quite a special place. And the people who are receiving treatment here, you can see that they really feel that they have kind of hit the mother lode in respect to world-class treatment and help for their children. The daily operating cost here at St Jude Hospital, which is something that everybody on both the ALSAC side and the hospital side know by heart, is $1.8 million, which is primarily covered by public contributions, which is unique to this organization. So that is, in many ways, that is a goal for ALSAC, the American Lebanese Syrian Associated Charities. They are charged with fundraising for the hospital. That's why they know that $1.8 million on a daily basis. That's what it takes to run the place. So that is their charge to raise that capital for the hospital. That said, just wanted to break out the challenge that we had here today for you. So ALSAC, again, the foundation that does the fundraising, their interactive marketing team identified the need with their current email marketing program to become a little bit more relevant and consistent with donors' expectations and touch points, especially given, as a nonprofit, their volume with over 30 million emails a year. We've spoke many times versus some of the experience that we all have with CPG and other type of email marketing, that the importance of relevancy is there, but the end user does buy something. They're seeking something. Here in the world where we're looking at donor experience, we have to be more targeted and more relevant than ever to make an ask of our donors, because they're not actually getting something tangible back. They're giving. So we need to be at the top of our game. Part of the challenge as well is, as ALSAC marketing team had identified, a slight generational preference towards donations in charities. The way that there was a shift in the way that those generations are perceiving charities and how they like to give, online versus offline versus writing a check versus making a mobile payment. And so as we said, there's a noticeable uptick in what was going on online with a larger number of donors kind of giving in smaller amounts, especially as we broke down some of the younger segments within their group. So all of that's to be said. What is required and what Crown and ALSAC worked on together is we know that we needed a new enterprise level e-marketing solution whose aim would be to increase that relevance, bring in the donations, and enhance the donor experience overall, not just with email, but from a focus from a cross-channel perspective analytically. ALSAC, it very much does what they measure. And I guess I would just ask Erica, if would you like to kind of give just a little bit of a breakdown about what the state of email marketing was like when you got here?
Yeah, I think it's very interesting, and to kind of go there and give you a frame of mind. I'll talk about where I've come from, which has been almost 20 years in interactive marketing, web development, and mainly on the design side. Used some analytics, did campaigns for agencies, worked with FedEx and Hilton, and everything was pretty fast-paced, all online, promotion, and came here after about a 3-year of working for an agency locally in Memphis, came here to a world that I didn't know still existed. We'll say that, and this ALSAC and St Jude, wonderful place to work. But it is rooted in tradition and rooted a lot in Danny Thomas's, connections and family and celebrities. There's tremendous amount of support and excitement working for this mission. That being said, a lot of it was built around direct mail and direct response TV, and that has brought them a lot of success. This year we did the 50th anniversary, 50 years of fundraising. But as we quickly get into this new world, we're understanding that how do we translate a lot of the mail that is going into the mail to some of these older donors online. And so the obvious one was email. And when I came in here, we were using a lot of legacy systems, and our email, my team is pretty much charged with doing analytics as well as channel strategies for all the online channels. And email just was the one that was just not nimble. We used an old system called Dialogue, and we knew right away there was a lot of frustration. There was a lot of pain points just talking to several people, which kind of started creeping across the organization as, why can't you get on an email? Why are we limited to 4 emails a day? We're trying to go online, but you're not helping us. And so that was where I brought in Crown partners and evaluated tools. We knew ExactTarget was top-notch and really integrated social and mobile text and email together. So that was basically the win up front, because I knew it wouldn't just span email, but the other 3 channels, as well as we had an Omniture integration going on at that point a year ago, and now we're fully integrated with ExactTarget, with Omniture and SiteCatalyst. And where we brought the program within a year with the help of Crown and having a good product is it's taking down deployment times from about 24 hours per email to an afternoon or a couple hours of prep and go. Some of the major issues we had was when it was crashing when we were uploading large lists. We really had no trust in the data. The data was pulled from the server. We did not have any kind of analytics integration with Google at that point, what we were using. So now having that view, and I'll, that's where I came from. And that was just a short year ago. And now the things we're going to talk about, and you are going to do so well talking about, is kind of where we've gone from there. And I hope that covers a little background. Absolutely.
Thanks, Erica. Okay. So as Erica mentioned, the solution, our evaluation, we did come to the conclusion quickly that ExactTarget Enterprise 2.0 solution would meet the requirements and the business requirements that ALSAC had to move beyond just basically loading up sends, complicated as it was, and sending out blasts. We wanted to move to an era where we could claim more relevance with our donors. So the Enterprise 2.0 suite integrated was implemented, and a proprietary list of both their national and international donors was basically merged. And we did get to an area where we planned, what we were really after here is we wanted to do dynamic content sends to various segments, so that when we did pull the trigger, we could increase relevancy while tracking kind of the segments via a single campaign ID and that single campaign ID could be used across all channels, whether it be social, whether it be mail, whether it be email, so that when that data would get back into Omniture SiteCatalyst, we could get a deeper perspective on those donors and their experience with our overall programs. The strategy, just to kind of lay this on top, this is a strategy that we developed with our partners at ALSAC. We said we wanted to develop this dialogue with a donor on a much more personal, engaged level. Naturally, messaging, timing, and personalized landing pages would all get us to the mecca of relevancy that we were pushing for. And that integration between online and offline would really give us the 360 perspective that we're looking for from our donors, and allow us to tap into a lot of the knowledge that ALSAC already had to develop kind of trigger-based goals, historical goals, end-of-the-year giving. We'll talk in a little bit about Thanksgiving, which is the biggest campaign of the end of the year, which for a number of reasons is very popular for people to give at the end of the year, not the least of which taxes and the holidays. So given all that, we developed this quick little breakdown here of 5 phases that we wanted to move from. You'll see phase 1 is quickly replace the current system migration. So we were currently doing broadcast and blast. We wanted to get in there, kind of lift up the hood, rip out the old system, put in the ExactTarget 2.0, move to phase 2 quickly where we start getting better profile data and structure. We did get into phase 3 where we're increasing sophistication in the personalization segments. You guys will hear a little bit more about the big Thanksgiving program that many of you probably have seen on the Today Show and in various stores and partners that you shop with. And in getting us into, as we're moving into a new year, phase 4 and 5, relevancy based on previous donation habits, which is behavioral and predictive, again, that annual giving, trend-based emails. So again, we can claim that relevancy as we're out there competing for wallet share. When you're asking a donor for help, they deserve, we need to be very, very relevant and personal with those donors. So that was the strategy that kind of lays on top of all of the pieces. And with that, as far as how we are measuring it and what our successes have been to that point, I will pass things over to Jennifer.
Thanks, Sean. So we'll talk a little bit about the migration and the initial implementation of ExactTarget and Omniture, specifically SiteCatalyst. So in the beginning, when we integrated the 2 best-of-class technologies, we started with just doing it on a campaign level. So if you hit the send once and then an email goes out to an average send of about 3 million in their distribution list, what happens from a general ExactTarget reporting standpoint, open rate, abandonment, click-through, links, URLs, all of the stuff that's basically available in the ExactTarget out-of-the-box reporting. But as we started doing the integrations and moving through the phases from 1, 2, and now at our current state at 3, where we wanted to start doing some behavioral, one of the challenges we ran into was the ability to do Omniture tags with some of the dynamic content that we were doing within the emails. So obviously, the Crown team was able to leverage ExactTarget's AMP scripting technology, which would automatically allow the Omniture campaign codes to go on the subscriber level. So another challenge is that Omniture creates unique IDs and codes to help with the cross-channel and tracking, but what was important is that we allowed ExactTarget to create those codes dynamically as well. So for example, you don't have 3 million Omniture codes to track towards your 3 million subscribers. ExactTarget technical support was absolutely great. We did a couple of testing, test sends, and a couple of AMP script configurations, and they were absolutely wonderful about helping us through a proof of concept, testing it and making sure that our solution was proved out. And then obviously Crown is now working with ExactTarget's development team to update the Omniture integration and product documentation to really show how this complex logic can work for other customers. That's a great win for Crown and ExactTarget together. So heading into current state, if you haven't been to the movies, if you haven't gone to CVS, if you haven't bought any jewelry lately, you definitely know that the Thanksgiving campaign is alive and well. I usually get asked about 3 times a day to donate to St. Jude for their Thanksgiving program. So what we did in regards to email was we segmented into 5 different segments, and these are enterprise personas. So as we go through the sophistication and a goal to get to one-to-one communications, we're really at level 3 where we want to do a one-to-several. And we created 5 different segments carrying over from what was done last year with different criteria for the different segments and the subscribers around donor, non-donor, average donation based, as well as from a relevancy standpoint for behavioral things. Are they single? Are they elderly? Do they have a family? Different things like that. So we utilize that all under one campaign ID. And then I had mentioned this before, we leverage AmpScript to really build out the URL conversion based upon subscriber data. And then what it finds us doing is taking that campaign code, which is down to the subscriber level, and then appending it with the appropriate tag. So really falling back to the original functionality by default. So for example, if there's a value for a subscriber or a segment that reaches a null value, what it does is it still allows us to track that subscriber on a segmented basis, but also have the analytics for their actions after the email is sent.
So for the results, obviously it let us track opens and click-through rates, et cetera, but what it really did is it allowed us to get a much more in-depth picture of kind of donor behavior and experience per segment. Trending revenue is up. Campaign-to-date revenue is up. So a lot of success stories there. Erica, I don't know, would you want to give just kind of a summary, kind of to date, of what's been going on?
Okay. I think, one of the things that's difficult with emails, the email itself is not going to convert. So it was a more holistic plan on this campaign, integrating the landing page and all the other channels to kind of support all this email that was going out. One of the things being acquisition was really important at the beginning of the campaign on the landing page to just capture new emails so we had prospects. In the past, we were just kind of hitting the same people all the time. Now we're hitting new people. As for some high-level analytics, I think, looking at email, I see it as, and some people say email's going away. I'm like, not for ALSAC. It is really making up a little less than 10% of the total revenue for the campaign. And last year was around 5%. So we really have seen growth in the email area. Though it only maybe has about 3% of total visits, the revenue, it's very qualified traffic. So that looking at the first 5 months of this year's campaign, it grew 25% on the revenue side compared to the first 5 months of last year. So I think that messaging, the segmentation, the messaging, acquiring more qualified people, making our list better, thinking about what we're saying, showing different images to those people that really resonate with that group of people has really been definitely a high impact, and we're seeing it even though the campaign is only halfway through. We have a lot more emails left to send. Just to compare to last year, really we were like at 1.5 email touches a month, and now we're really trying to get up to that industry average of 4 times a month. And with this campaign, we have about 11, 12 different deployments broken down to 8 different segments. So you'll see, the sophistication is a lot more, and I think it's paying off in the long run when you see those percentage increases.
Great. So the ability of having, obviously, the ExactTarget Enterprise Suite implemented has allowed operational efficiencies, has allowed us to be more specific and targeted, get more, just simply put, get more emails out better, faster, more targeted. And then the focus of today, obviously, is our ability from an Omniture standpoint, SiteCatalyst, to be able to track the holistic interaction from that one campaign ID. Allows in many ways, which I think has been kind of an interesting thing to look at, is to be able to, even though email is growing in its focus and importance, it allows that type of tracking that behavior gives us some information that could affect the other channels as well. So using that information to kind of move on. There's the campaign conversion rate was at 3.9 last year for the first 4 weeks. Or I'm sorry, it's now at 3.9. It was at 2.6. So as Erica said, we're kind of driving a little less traffic, but more qualified in converting traffic. So we are looking for the numbers we really want to focus on are not in the mass numbers, but in the qualified people that are coming and actually making donations. And then just kind of another extra fun fact, so campaign to date, there are more monthly donations, people contributing in the first 4 weeks than last year, people that are signing up to donate on a monthly basis, which are really, those are really great people to be in touch with and to be sponsored by from a donation standpoint.
Hey, Sean, since you have the visual of the email up there, what I wanted to do is maybe break that email down and talk a little bit about the areas that are dynamically driven from analytics. So obviously using ExactTarget templates and some of the framework to really grid this out and come up with a UX UI that's effective. If you look on the left-hand side, that image is 100% customized to one-to-one to the subscriber based upon really actually their family attributes. So their behavioral attributes, are they a single female? Are they a person who has a family of 4? So that visual on the left-hand side is driven towards that analytical track. On the right-hand side, more importantly, given the fact that we are asking for monetary donations, that dollar amount dynamically changes based upon either previous donor habits or average donor value, as well as maybe the amount that they gave in previous years, as well as from historical research on that segment, what's the threshold? What's the threshold for the ask? Is $50 too much? Is $1,000 too much? And really drove home the brand by putting those dollars into what it means for St. Jude on the right-hand side. And then even URLs and the rest of the images throughout all of the email communications are 100% dynamically driven, including a call to action. So
great. Okay. So as we go back a slide, you can see as well, as Jen had said, we're kind of broke down the different areas there. The top left, you have a different image, as well as the ones that kind of join throughout. So yeah. Yep. With that, I think we could go ahead and move to any questions or discussion that they may want to have.
Great. Thanks so much, guys, for the presentation. It was really insightful. Yeah, if anyone has any questions, there is the question panel on the sidebar where you can just shoot anything out there. We're just going to take a couple minutes here to answer some questions and give you some more time back into your day. The first question that's come through is what types of actions are you tracking within Omniture?
So we're still growing in that area. One thing that we did not mention is that ALSAC and St. Jude have only had ExactTarget, I believe, for 8 months now, 9 months. So when we did the initial Omniture integration, we really leveraged a lot of the out-of-box functionality of ExactTarget's regular reporting. So things like open, click-through, unsubscribe, different, I mean, you guys know, friends of ExactTarget, what is available out of the standard reporting. Our plan as we grow through the Omniture as well as the ExactTarget integration is to start getting into advanced Omniture things like test and target, where some of that segmentation as well as relevancy is actually triggered. So it doesn't take an actual human being to configure some of the dynamic content. It will be driven directly from the analytics automatically. So as we look at the roadmap, you know, we're really, I would consider us kind of in the kindergarten stage of analytics where we're just doing the basic stuff. But from an 8 or 9 month standpoint, we've really grown leaps and bounds.
Awesome. Second question, what was the biggest challenge you encountered while integrating Omniture and ExactTarget, and how did you solve for it?
This is Jennifer. I can take that. So really the biggest challenge was the out-of-box integration with ExactTarget and Omniture really tracks on the campaign ID. So anything that is a triggered send, automated send, anything that goes out in one send button, whether you have the segments or any other type of dynamic content. One of the challenges is that as we set up the segments and did the dynamic content, the Omniture configuration we did initially was just set up as the campaign as a whole. So we could get open rates for the 3 million subscribers, but we couldn't understand some of the analytics for segment A through F, which is really important, obviously, as we drive down to building enterprise personas with St. Jude to find out where's the biggest bang for our buck. What audience is more responsive to email communications or even cross-channel communications? That was one of the biggest challenges, and we worked very closely with Adobe as well as ExactTarget to do some of the proof of concepts, make sure that we were building some of these things out in a dev and QA environment through doing some AMP scripting and some advanced coding, being able to get down to not only the one to several, but the one to many, as well as understanding what segments we were tracking.
Awesome. So you kind of answered another question, which was throughout the implementation, did you work with ExactTarget or Adobe? Do you want to expand on that a little more, or you did say that you do?
Yeah, I could address that one. So, yeah, I mean, I think it was actually critical to the success of the integration. And the great thing, Crown does have kind of an interesting perspective because we are both an ExactTarget and Adobe partner. So it was very easy for us, and we needed it, quite frankly, to work with both teams in many ways and help as far as testing, not only coming up with the solution and extending the AMP script technology, as Jen said, but you know, it's only as good as you actually test it over and over and see if it's going to work. So I believe on a couple different occasions, we did have the ability, we did ask both ExactTarget and Adobe to get on the phone with us, as well as our clients, and really kind of gnash this stuff out. That's why I think we did actually break some new ground here collectively, which is a great thing for not only our client at ALSAC St. Jude, but for Adobe ExactTarget, and hopefully everyone on the phone who will be able to help leverage that collective work.
Great. One question asks, what is the integration with SiteCatalyst? I'm not sure if that's a clear enough question.
Yeah, I can cover that. I mean, obviously, when we look at Omniture as a whole and some of the Adobe Marketing Suite products, SiteCatalyst is just one of the Adobe products that are available to do this sort of tracking. I mentioned as well Test and Target. It's a very modular type of offering that Adobe has, and maybe Eric can talk a little bit more. Obviously, they're the ones that have the Adobe license in regards to what different assets you have.
Yeah, and I think I mentioned earlier how we were using Google for a while, and I understand with Omniture one of the big strengths was being able to see the touches prior and after post-click. So we were just lengthened our view to what was happening prior to the conversion. And our whole goal in the end was end-to-end. So from each point of deployment of the email all the way down to the conversion. And so now we're able to, on one dashboard, see all the different channels, how they're performing, as well as how the landing page is performing and the funnel, down to trending revenue, pretty real time with the trending revenue, which that was pretty invisible last year and took a lot of manual work. It's not that you can't do it. You can't underestimate just that time that it takes to go into 5 different systems and pull the numbers and then try to put them back into Excel into one place. For Thanksgiving, we have a tremendous amount of information that we can show our business partners pretty real time with the use of Report Builder, which is another part of SiteCatalyst and the Adobe product, which allows you to dynamically pull data from SiteCatalyst and put into Excel. So for all the people that are still doing their dashboards in Excel, it's a nice way to weed into not just 100% straight dynamic cookie cutter dashboards. It's kind of a hybrid. So we found a lot of success with that in our organization, because it's hard when people have been looking at the data one way and then all of a sudden it's like overload. So transitioning, we found, transitioning people through that same Excel kind of look and feel, and then eventually getting to real time where they can actually change and sort and query the data themselves we're not there yet. We want to be there, but again, that's just control right now with doing the education process before allowing people to see numbers that they don't understand. So for, to answer the question with the products in Adobe, we use Adobe. We have a 5-year kind of roadmap, and we have Test and Target wanting to be part of that. So, and we also, the Adobe CQ suite for the CMS, and we can be fully integrated on our landing pages to be able to react and dynamically serve up content based on what people who they just came from. And I know they do this in retail a lot, but this is pretty much unheard for nonprofits. And when you look, you think, oh, what do we have? We just have donations, single and monthly, but not really. I mean, to us, it's very holistic, trying to build a relationship with our donors and especially with the younger generation. So it really starts out by social and acquiring them through programs that they have an interest in. So it might be a math-a-thon at the school that brings them in. It might be a college, sorority, philanthropy that came into St. Jude. They all come from so many different directions. We're huge with the fitness. And that is those people's passions and a way to contribute and also do things that they love. So that is kind of, we have a lot of different people with different interests, and they take a lot of different paths. And we also have a huge peer-to-peer kind of donation, which is the ultimate goal. So once we can get them to donate once and then become monthly, the peer-to-peer, getting them to involve a group of friends in a program to say group donations for like Game Day Give Back, which we'll launch at the beginning of the year. I mean, ultimate, having the power to see how that's doing all the time from all the channels is absolutely amazing. And then in the end, I can sleep at night because I feel like I'm not pushing stuff to people. I feel like it's a little bit more of a pull where they're getting things that they want when they want it and the way that they want it. And it makes me feel better. I feel like I'm serving a communication purpose and not like this blast marketing purpose. And I think our donors appreciate that because there's some real person at the other end.
Gotcha. Eric, if I could just expand too, I mean, obviously, ALSAC and St. Jude is such a world-class nonprofit organization that does so much good around the world. But as you said, I think the real key is that when you take a business standpoint, is that there are so many opportunities, and you guys do such a great job of being relevant to people and their desires, their likes, their hobbies. That's from a business standpoint, that's an amazing opportunity, and I think you guys have done an amazing job with that. But especially on the digital marketing side, to leverage these tools in that way has been an enormous opportunity. It's not easy. Everyone probably on the phone here knows that this stuff isn't easy, but the pursuit of that is so valid and so it's such an opportunity. And using these tools to do those type of things, it gives us such an opportunity to kind of maintain and kind of cross the threshold of that relevancy that is so important with donors. And I think if anyone, we obviously would invite people to go to stjude.org and take a look at the site, sign up for the emails. Most importantly, if you go to stjude.org/thanksgiving right now, you'll see that the campaign that we're talking about, and there's just an awful lot to be learned there, and I definitely appreciate you guys sharing that out for people to be a good learning example.
Great. So we'll take one more question. Looks like one person wants to know, when you selected an ExactTarget template so that you can make your emails dynamic, what considerations did you make for which template you selected?
So a lot of our templates are custom, but they are templates that were created from the beginning. So another part of sending the email communications for St. Jude, even though, I mean, obviously we have the regular corporate communications that go out throughout the year, and then when we do Thanksgiving, from a brand consistency standpoint, we don't want the template to look drastically different than something they received in, say, April, just because it's a Thanksgiving campaign. So the only thing that's really different from a template standpoint is the visuals. We did change the headers and the footers. And the other thing that we did in Thanksgiving is we did a lot more emphasis on the Hispanic segment. So we obviously, given a different footer being a multilingual, that's the only other template that we really used was we had a multilingual template as well as an English-based template, and then built dynamic content off of those. So we leveraged an out-of-box template. Short answer is we leveraged an out-of-box template with ExactTarget, but we configured that so that it becomes an ALSAC email template that's consistent not only for Thanksgiving but throughout the year in all their email and digital messaging communications.
Great. All right, I think that's it for now. For the rest of you, I know there's quite a few other questions that came through. We'll make sure that we address each of them in a side conversation. But thank you so much, guys, for joining the webinar and for participating. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.